Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Simon with Our Trade. Welcome to our weekly webinar. Special welcome goes to the new people. And for you, just one phrase, what describes our webinar is we're trying to create a plan. It says right here, mapping out our week ahead. And as usual, I like to quote the traders when they say, you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. And of course, there's no guarantee, but if you are planning your future actions, you have a better organized way of doing things, especially in trading, so you don't get caught by impulsive and chaotic trading in this case. Okay, my name is Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I've been involved with trading for the past 24 years. June of 2000, it was like yesterday, I started as a prop trader in Wall Street, and I worked in a few Wall Street firms as a prop trader for about 11 years. After that, I moved on, continued trading, and started to mentor and educate others. And I'm very happy I have this great opportunity to be assisting our customers at AvaTrade currently. The agenda of the webinar. We talk about indices, stocks, commodities, forex, and a small dessert for cryptos at the end. And we mix fundamentals with technicals, trying to really see what's in focus and what's to expect in the upcoming week of trading. A risk warning, you can find the full statement at avatrade.com website. Of course, everything we do here, it's purely educational. We do not suggest any trades. Social media, please follow us on our social media channels. You have Telegram, you have X, which used to be Twitter, and YouTube. As I always say, it's my favorite. You have a lot of information. Please subscribe, click on the bell, get notified when new things are being added. You have tutorials, you have educational material, and also all the webinars that we do, they are recorded and posted on YouTube channel. So if you miss a webinar, don't worry, just find it on the YouTube and watch whenever you can. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube and you like it, please don't forget to click likes. Somehow in the mysterious way YouTube works, if there are a lot of likes, so more people actually get to watch it. So please think of others, write your feedback. If you have any comments, we'll be happy to hear from you, and subscribe so be notified, as I said before. Okay, so focus, we're finally getting to the week of the decision, and this is the first decision since at least 2 years that the Fed, it looks like it's happening. They will be cutting the rates for the first time in a few years. And it used to be, at least till Wednesday, Thursday, that the majority of traders, according to CME tools, thought that it's going to be 0.25 interest rate cut. There was about 70%, and 30% thought that it would be 50%. Now, as of now, actually, it's the equal 50-50 chance. Let me just run up front a little bit. This is the picture as of today. You can find this CME, you can Google CME Fed Watch tool. And as of now, you see there's the equal chance of a smaller cut, which is 0.25, and the larger cut, which is 0.50. And as you could see here, what I said, it was 64% probability on August 14 for the smaller cut. Then September 6 was 70% probability, and we went to 50-50 as of 13th of, which was Friday, right? So there's a 50-50 chance. Now, so the whole focus is the meeting starts on Tuesday, and they finish it on Wednesday with announcement, statement, and 30 minutes later, as usual, it's going to be press conference of Jerome Powell when he's going to be drilled by the questions. Okay, so also Barron's, it's a nice article you can read. They give you details of possible scenarios. So let's just read this really quick. So much for quarter-point rate cuts from Federal Reserve. After all, investors had been more or less certain that the Fed will begin a widely expected serious reduction to interest rates with a modest 25 basis points move on Wednesday. But now they aren't sure. The Wall Street Journal reported Friday the Fed is still on the fence as to whether it should cut by a smaller amount or go bigger with half-point rate cut. As a result, traders are now pricing in nearly 50-50 probability of a 50 basis points cut when the Federal Open Market Committee meet next week, according to CME's Fed Watch tool, the one that we just saw, right? Fed funds futures were indicated just a 28% probability of such a supersized cut on Thursday. That's what we saw, right? Okay, so the focus, by the way, it's a big week. We're going to go through economic calendar in a moment, but just to jump a little bit ahead, there's 3 interest rate decisions. There's US, there's the UK, and there's Japan. 10-year yields, as you know, I took it as a habit to show you this instrument, as it affects a lot of things, especially US dollar and gold. As the yields are going lower, it puts pressure on US dollar and helps gold run. And even without that, gold's been super strong. A nice article also, Market Watch, you can find. The title says, gold is an all-weather hedge against whatever happens next as Fed decision nears. And it says right here, gold has settled at the record high 34th times this year. Okay, it's been running. We're going to take a look at the chart shortly. Okay, so gold, as we said, I think we spoke about gold a few times, at least in the past few months, as central banks are buying it to hedge against inflation, physical gold being bought, right? And also our historical process of safe havens happening as a lot of investors are depositing or investing their money in gold. Okay, economic calendar. A few things for new people that this is new for you. It's public information. You can know all these things ahead of time. You can find it on our web trader or the mobile app. Also, you can just Google it. There's a lot of providers of economic calendar. As I said, it's all public information. And I believe it's important for every trader that's active to know about these things ahead of time so you can plan your actions or lack of actions, whatever you choose to do. Some people are actually waiting for the FOMC or other important events to use and take advantage of that volatility. Others try to stay away at the moment of the release of the news. It's all individual, whatever your trading style, your appetite, your risk tolerance, and so on, okay? But nevertheless, it's important to know that these things are happening. Okay, so let's just go through it really quick. As usual, I take only high impact events. There's a lot of this week. As you could see, I had to zoom in so it can fit on one page here. So we start Tuesday with the consumer price index from Canada. Retail sales from US are important as well. Wednesday is the day, right? So consumer price index from UK, and here's a bunch of things from the Fed's interest rate decision, the statement, and 30 minutes later, as we said, FOMC press conference where Powell will be drilled with tons of questions. Some of them are tricky. So as you know, this thing creates volatility, then we find a direction, and then 30 minutes later, it's going to be press conference that brings back the volatility. Sometimes his body language and the way he's answering the questions create moves on the market. So that's very, very important. And of course, we're going to be watching it and seeing what the market is doing. Like I said, you can participate in trading. You can wait till dust settles and then trade, or you can just do whatever you'd like. But be prepared. And also, if you're new, it's good to observe what's happening around these times of major announcements, so you can have a little bit of an idea what to expect every time certain announcements are coming. Okay, GDP numbers from New Zealand are coming on Wednesday as well. Then we move to Thursday, employment data from Australia, and here we go. Bank of England interest rate decision. They're expecting to keep it the same at 5% current level, and Bank of England minutes, and that's what's happening here. I think the speech of the governor will be the next day. So that's on Thursday. Friday, for some reason, they don't show times. Bank of Japan interest rate decision, monetary policy statement, and press conference of the governor of Bank of Japan. That's on Friday, followed by retail sales from UK and the governor of Bank of Canada speaking. Sorry, I got confused here. That's governor of Bank of Canada, and the decision comes from Bank of England, not to mix those. Okay, so that's our economic calendar. We're going to move now to the trading platform. We start with indices, starting with China. We'll go through indices. Then I'll just give you a little bit of a teaser. Then we'll go to some stocks, specific stocks, Boeing, Adobe, Uber, AT&T, Intel, and we'll go through, we'll take a look at NVIDIA and a few others to see what they do. Then we go to commodities. We'll take a look at gold, silver, palladium, oil, natural gas, copper. We'll take a look at grains, and then we'll move to Forex and so on. Okay, so China, if you remember, I mentioned this simple tool as a trend line when you connect the previous lows, and it looks like we came to that trend line on Friday. China economy is not doing that great. It's been sliding and no pullbacks at all, as you could see here, at least since the beginning of this month, after we tried a move up, which failed the same day. So let's see if we manage to break the trend line, or maybe we might find some at least temporary support here. Of course, a lot of it to do with local economy in China, but also to see what the US and global markets are doing as well. So that's China. And as you know, with China, we usually take a look at crude oil, which bonds we're going to take a look in details later. Didn't react to the downside, it's been holding. I guess it's being followed by, or it's being following the US economy, which we had a market pulling up a little bit. So that's on China. Japan, Japanese index tried to recover, but Friday went down as yen regains the strength. We can take a look when we get to yen there. Now, US markets. Okay, of course, ahead of the Fed, it's very important to take a look what's happening. Take a look. The whole week we've been running up. It was a nice recovery. It was initial sell-off that we had on the CPI numbers and the PPI numbers, and then we recovered nicely. We actually came and almost hit the high of this month. You see similar situation to here. We had in August, the numbers, the inflation numbers pushed the market lower. There was a huge sell-off and then recovery towards the middle of the month. Then we had accumulation here. Then we went down again on the inflation numbers and then recovered probably the same amount of days. So the big question, the gazillion-dollar question is what's next? Of course, it has to do with the Feds will present to us as far as the cut and the future actions. Okay, now some opinions out there that just want to find out, read it to you according to the article that I found. So it says future markets also price further reduction in the key policy rate from current target rate of 5.25 to 5.5 to 4.25 to 4.5 by December, and 3% to 3.25% by mid 2025. Okay, so they're already working the numbers. And that's why I think these questions are going to pop up on the press conference of Powell. As usual, they ask these questions as far as the future cuts and the interest rate to expect. Okay, so that's something to pay attention to. So the indices, right? We had a nice recovery. The question is what's next? NASDAQ also had a nice recovery this week. We're getting close to that resistance. As you could see, the level of 19,680, 690. We had a strong resistance. The sell-off started there, and then the few tails hit exactly that number. The last tail right here, 19,681, and then we sold, and we're coming back. Dow Jones, super strong, stronger than others. Take a look. We just had a triple top here. You can say it. We hit on Friday the high of 41,568 and closing at 41,426. Strong move on Dow Jones. Now, European indices also try to recover here. This is German DAX, French index, not so much as you could see. It's having a strong pressure to the downside, looks like it. And UK index try, but we are sitting at the current levels here around 8,300, trying to break and failing. So that's as far as indices. Again, we have a lot of things. We have 3 interest rate decisions this week, the upcoming week, which is from the US, from the UK, and Japan. Okay, let's move to individual stocks, and we'll start with some stocks that are on the news, something to pay attention to. So Boeing, we're going to start with Boeing. As you know, they've been in trouble with all the issues, the tech issues, and they haven't been doing so great. And now, I'm going to read from here now. The Boeing fell 3.7%. This is a quote from the article on MarketWatch. After the aerospace company's biggest union, representing about 33,000 workers, went on strike after voting down a new 4-year labor deal. The strike will halt work on the company's best-selling 737, 777, and 767 jets. Now, if you remember, we had a while ago, we had a strike of automakers, and a lot of companies, including GM, they really suffered from it, right? So the company of radio, the shares are really suffering here at this point. And now there's a strike that affects 33,000 workers and the jets that are best selling, right? So I guess we might expect a gap down on Monday and continuation. And I guess it's all going to be about the strike and watching how they resolve it. Okay, that's number one. Another one is Adobe, a good company, and the stock sold on Friday. And I'm going to also quote from the article, not to miss anything. So Adobe reported fiscal third quarter adjusted earnings that beat analyst estimates as revenue rose 11% to $5.41 billion and topped forecasts. The software company said revenue at its digital media segment, which houses Creative Cloud and Document Cloud, was up 11% from last year to $4 billion. The stock fell 8.5% after Adobe said it expects adjusted earnings of $4.63 to $4.68 a share in the fourth quarter, compared with the Wall Street estimate of $4.67, and revenue they're projecting, right? Revenue $5.5 billion to $5.55 billion, below expectation of $5.6 billion. So I guess that adjustment didn't really satisfy the shareholders, as we had a gap and a little bit of recovery here. So that's Adobe. On the positive side, you know, if we're already here, let's take a look at Oracle. Oracle also, this was the initial gap after the earnings that will continue higher, and then we gapped on Friday and sold closing that gap. So we're going to watch Oracle as well. Now, on a good note, we have Uber with some positive news. Okay, I'm going to read also. Just 1 second. Okay, so Uber rose 6.5% after reaching an agreement for Google's Waymo to use the Uber app for paid rides in Atlanta and Austin, Texas, starting in early 2025. All right, as we know, Uber is always trying to bring innovations and expand their business. As you could see here, we had a move on Uber. It's been strong right here. The stock actually gapped up and closed higher. All right. Another one, as we said, AT&T, it's been strong. It looks like we are having a hard time moving higher. As you know, when the general equity market was selling, AT&T was stepping up. So I shared with you last week, there's to do with new things, new inventions, fiber optics and other things, and improving financial situation. So AT&T has been holding strong. Now, Intel, the stock's been hurt a lot, as we know. We spoke about it many times. And the latest news, I'm going to quote from Reuters. Intel Corp has officially qualified for as much as $3.5 billion in federal grants to make semiconductors for the U.S. Department of Defense. Bloomberg News reported on Friday, citing people familiar with the matter after the chipmaker reached a binding agreement with the U.S. officials. Okay, that could be positive. Just to remind us, we spoke about Intel a few times. On one occasion, I mentioned to you from the article that around 1950, I think it was, that Intel reached the fair book value, and that would attract the buyers, and actually did. We had a nice move here from below 19 to recent highs of 22. Then we came back, retested this level below 19, and we closed Friday at 1965. So let's see, as this grant of 3.5 billion might help Intel a little bit. We're not going to predict anything. We'll just see how Intel trades on Monday and upcoming week. Okay. Also, Tesla was in news. They've revised the number of cars sold. The contradictive targets. Some banks are setting up certain prices a target at 250, some lower it, and so on. So it's hard to really make sense out of it, as every bank or every analyst has its own or his own opinion on that. In any event, we did hold the 220 with few attempts to break below, and now we closed at 230, trying to really toggle this 230 level in order to move higher. The stock is down, I believe, still down on the year, about 8%, when the whole market is up. I think S&P is up 20%, so it's still struggling. And as we said a while ago, October 10th, I believe there's a presentation of the robo taxi, which everybody is expecting. Okay, now let's take a look at Apple. Speaking of presentation, as we did have last week, they revealed the new iPhones and other products. And I think on the 13th, which was 2 days ago, they opened the pre-ordering on the Apple 16 products, and it's going to be available for sale on the 20th of September. Oh, by the way, it reminds me, next Sunday I'll be in New York. I'm going on vacation to visit my family. So if I can, I will be doing the webinar. If not, we're going to skip one. And I'm sorry if that's happening. I can't promise that I can make it. Depends on a lot of things. Why I just remember about now, because I'm actually considering buying a new iPhone. I guess I will update you one of the webinars if I bought it or not. I might buy it. I might wait till I get some feedback from people and maybe buy it later. In any event, Apple, usually when they reveal things in September, initially the stock sells and then it continues higher. Similar thing happened here. we are holding above 220, the key level for Apple. So let's see how things work out for Apple. Now, Google worth watching has been since that judgment of being a monopoly. Google has been suffering a little bit. We had a little bit of bounce here and retesting the 200 moving average here. Now let's take a quick look at banks. Banks, since that initial move to the downside, as some CEOs predicted next year net interest income be lower than the current one. There was a first really strong reaction to the downside on JP Morgan or Goldman and the rest of the banks. Now, to remind us, Bank of America, Warren Buffett slowly getting rid of the stock. It decreased the holding again. Citi. So as you could see, there's a downside pressure on bank stocks. Very important to notice that. Okay, that's it with indices and individual equities. We'll move to commodities. We'll start with gold, as we saw on the slide, that it looks like gold is the all-weather hedge against any issues, right? I just put it in my own words. So as you could see here, we just made a new high again, and according to statistics, they say it's a 34th time this year we hit the all-time high. Now, I mean, there's nothing we can say about it. It's a clearly a contemporary golden rush, right? We have, you can name it that. And we are moving higher. There's no resistance as we are in the brand new category. And I guess the Wednesday's FOMC decision and the press conference will give us a little bit more clarity. We could be running, and again, how high? As we know, there's predictions of 3,000. It could be anything. It could be retesting of 2,500 before going higher. I guess we'll find out soon. Now, silver is moving high with gold as well, not hitting the highs yet, but very strong move on Friday as well. Guess what? Palladium, we haven't spoken about it for a while. And this past week, Palladium really went up strongly. Take a look. Each day, there was a very strong move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive days to the upside. And we are facing, actually, we broke through the previous resistance of June 30th, which was 10,062. We sold from there. And then here in 1 week, we just came and we closed higher than that. We closed at 1072.20. So definitely we want to watch Palladium. Maybe the time has come for the turnaround. It looks very nicely for possible move. Of course, we could also pull back in and retest and find where the real support is. So that's Palladium. Oil, as we said, it didn't react negatively to the Chinese market moving lower the last 2 days. It was flat though on Friday, and Thursday was a move up. Again, it's hard to say anything. There's so many aspects that affect crude oil, especially geopolitical situation in the Middle East. Whatever's happening every day, there's something new. There's war going on, unfortunately, and other things that are affecting crude oil. Also, as the stock market went up, oil reacted possibly to that as well, on possible a boost in demand. So that's oil. Natural gas, it went up after hitting the 50-day moving average here, but Friday was sold after hitting the 100 moving average here. We are above the 226, which was a resistance since July 22nd. As you could see, a few times we tried to break through, and only this week we closed higher. After that closing, we had a nice move on Thursday and Friday. We had a reversal. So let's see what that 226 level does again if we reach there. Also, there's a possibility of continuation, as you could see here on the weekly chart. Is a nice build up after a move up, the large candle here on the week of August 4th. Since then, we've been trading nicely, looking upwards. Okay, copper. As we said with China, copper follows it again. It also didn't react to the downside, but you could see here we are rejecting so far the 200 moving average here on copper. Also positive reaction possibly to the US equity market bouncing to the upside. Okay, that's on copper. Palladium, we spoke about grains. It was actually a very nice couple of weeks for grains. If you remember, we spoke about it when we initially made the move, and we said there's a possible move to the upside of grains. Take a look, 3 consecutive weeks to the upside on wheat. Let's stay on the weekly chart. Wheat, 3 consecutive upside weeks. Corn, same situation. Soybeans are a little bit behind, but all 3, especially wheat and corn, had a nice move to the upside. Wheat actually closed above 200 moving average here. So, and we are out of the woods of the previous resistance approximately at 590, 592. Okay, so we'll continue watching. We'll continue watching the grains as well. Okay, that's as far as commodities. Let's move to FX. And if you remember in the slide, we looked at the 10-year yields. You know what? Let's just take a look at it really quick again. Here we go. 10-year yields, the last 2 days of the week. Actually, this is the weekly chart. Just wanted to show you. There was a sell-off the previous week. This week, we're also in red. We went as low as 3.6 and as high as 3.75. We closed at 3.63. A down week for the 10-year yields. So potentially that gives a boost to gold as we saw, and it pushes the US dollar lower. And that's exactly where we are. We're at 101.07 currently on US dollar index. And of course, all the majors is just the mirror image. As you could see here, we are looking upwards. Now, Japanese yen, as we said, and that's affecting the Japanese market as well. And we have the interest rate decision this week, right? We said, so yen is continuing being strong. He is against dollar. There's a huge move against the Swiss franc. Take a look. I spoke about it a while ago that this pair has a potential of a nice reversal. Take a look. July 10th was the top. We were at 180, 180.05. Currently, we are at 165.78. Nice move. Also, it's been strong against other major currencies as well. And let's see what's happening with the decision. Definitely, it might create volatility if they increase the interest rate again. We might see a significant move up in Japanese yen. So that's in focus for this week, of course. Let's take a look at the pound, as we also have the interest rate decision this week. So far, a pound is holding this 130.43 level. The previous resistance became a support, the current levels here. So 130.43, we did a bounce of it. As of now, it plays as a support. So let's see what that decision, as we saw, the predictions or the expectations are no change and leaving it at 5% interest rate. Okay, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin. As we said, for dessert, Bitcoin and cryptos usually go in sympathy with the markets. When the markets go higher, they go higher as well. And also they're being affected by US dollar and other things. As you could see here, on a nice rebound on the equity markets, we also had a nice move to the upside after hitting this triple bottom here around 53.5. We went up on Friday the 13th to the high of 60,614. And over the weekend so far, we are trading above the 60,000, which shows a lot of hopes to buyers. Let's see how Monday will start for Bitcoin. As you could see over the weekend, after the Friday nice move to the upside, we are holding these current levels around 60,000. And let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Ethereum is not as strong. It had a little bit of recovery here, but we are stuck at the below 2,500 level, as you could see here. Okay, so that's it pretty much. We're gonna wrap it up. Again, please don't forget about the social media channels. Subscribe, share, write your comments, especially on YouTube. We'll be happy to hear from you. And to summarize what we spoke about, we have 3 interest rate decisions. And of course, we have US FOMC, we have Bank of England, and we have Bank of Japan. Of course, the key event is the FOMC decision that comes on Wednesday and the press conference that comes after that at 18:30 or 6:30 p.m. GMT time. That's the time of the press conference. By the way, the economic calendar that I showed you, I chose the GMT time. You can choose whatever you'd like. So we have 3 interest rate decisions. We have market really looking to run higher, but stumbling around the current levels. We have some individual shares are struggling as well. We have Boeing, the employees, 33,000 employees starting the strike. We have Adobe, with not such a good prediction for next year. The stock went down. Also, Uber went up. AT&T continues high, and Intel, it looks like they will be receiving $3.5 billion from the U.S. Department of Defense. We have gold, as it looks like everybody's excited about it and trying to keep the money safe, investing in gold. We have palladium running. We have oil bouncing a little bit, and copper as well, despite the sell-off on the Chinese index. And the grains looking to recover, having a nice move to the upside. Let's see if that continues. Again, with all that said, the #1 focus on FOMC, be prepared, make sure you're in control, make sure you have a plan. If you do trade it, have a specific, a concrete plan on your risk management, which is very important. Enjoy the weekend, get some energy, prepare yourself for an amazing week, and have a great and successful week. And again, next Sunday, I'm not sure about the webinar. If I can do it from New York, I will. If not, we'll skip one. And I wish you all the best. Take care.